Just a short distance away from iconic Union Station in the historic section of downtown Los Angeles is Philippe the Original, birthplace of the French dip, an LA institution that hasn't changed much since Philippe Mathieu opened his doors in 1908. Inside, nostalgia abounds with sawdust on the floor and one working phone booth. The others just provide privacy for customers on cell phones.
I have beaten the crowd.
Thank you.
According to Philippe himself, the story of the French dip came about when a police officer asked him if he could split a large loaf of French bread and fill it with some roast pork after dipping it in the pan of meat juice from the roast. Philippe called it the man-sized sandwich and charged the unheard of amount of 35 cents. This was when a multi-course dinner, mind you, at a fine restaurant cost 40 cents. Apparently the steep price didn't matter much because the next day, the same policeman returned with several of his friends for the same sandwich, and thus the popularity of the French dip was born. That was 104 years ago, and prices have gone up just a tad since the glory days.
A little pickle appetizer before the sandwich.
But where did the actual name French dip come from? It didn't come from Philippe. There are various stories, popular ones and not so popular. However, more than likely, it came from a clever customer coining the obvious. Philippe was French, and the bread was dipped. Any which way you cut it, it's a winner. And the French dip, no matter where you get it, maintains a cherished place in the pantheon of iconic American food.
One beef dip, one pork dip, one lamb dip. I'm slightly hungry.
And I'm here, so what the heck? Let's try all of it. I figured, well, get the beef because that's the most popular, get the pork because that's the original, and get the lamb because I like lamb. They do have one sort of common thread, and that's the juice, which gives them sort of like that base flavor, and then the meats kind of play on top of that. Let's try this and see what the fuss is about. Thinly sliced beef right there, and we got it single dipped, so it's not too mushy, right? Still dry on the outside, nice and moist in the center. Oh. It just melts in your mouth. Let's give this one a try. I gotta tell you, I kind of like that one more than the beef. Let's try the lamb. That has a bit more character, actually. If you're in LA, you should come on down here and try Philippe's. In the meantime, I'm gonna get to it. I got some work to do. Little snack to take home.
Was that cool? Or was that cool? That was absolutely awesome. It's a really great place. So if you live in LA, you really should go. If you don't live in LA and you come out here for a little visit, you should go and just give it a shot. Just try it. I actually enjoyed all three for what they are, and I can see why it's been an institution in LA since 1908. We used to do our Sunday dinner, Italian kind of thing, for lunch, and my aunt, who normally did it, would typically make some sort of a roast, and she would do this amazing pork roast. So afterwards, we would actually end up having sandwiches. So I guess you can call them like an Italian dip, or not. But it reminds me of that too. So I figured, you know what? Let's do a take on the original French dip, my way, with pork, since the original was made with pork. We have a pork butt. It's a pork shoulder, otherwise known as a pork butt. It's a really great, cheap cut of meat, and it's absolutely perfect for this because you've got a lot of intramuscular fat and really dark meat there, and Along with that, we're gonna use some fresh rosemary, some fresh thyme. I've got my go-to garlic, diamond kosher salt, pepper, some mistard. I have Dijon. You can also use brown mustard. I have some brown stuff, soy sauce, white wine, and extra virgin olive oil, some mirepoix, because it's a French dip. So onion, carrot, and celery, about a cup each. And then I have some beef stock, 6 cups. So let's get to the marinade. So what I like to do for this recipe, and I don't, necessarily do this just to make a French dip. I do this to make a pork roast for dinner. I'm gonna start with the mustard. That's 1, 2, 3. Download the recipe, take a look at it, and then read it and leave it. Then I'm gonna take some garlic. And you wanna have a really good amount of garlic. 3 tablespoons of garlic. Okay, I got some fresh rosemary. And with the rosemary, you wanna chop it as fine as possible. So there we got our, I'm gonna call that 2, yeah, it looks like 2 tablespoons. And the thyme, just pull it off like that. You're not gonna get all of them. And chop that up as well. Soy sauce. And olive oil. You need olive oil not only for the flavor, but it is a catalyst for all the other flavors. Salt, 1, 2, 3. Whisk it together. And that's your marinade. Now we're gonna do the pork. So we have the pork shoulder here that I've actually boned. Typically it'll be a bone in, so you need to remove it. Don't throw that out because we're gonna roast that with this and that'll help with the jus. Typically, it'll come with a cap of fat. If it's really, really thick, you wanna trim some of it away. You don't wanna trim all of it away because that keeps the pork moist and gives you flavor. But what you can do is score it, right? Take a sharp knife and make little shallow incisions on an angle. And you can make them closer together if you want, but I think for this one, about 1 inch apart is fine. Now you see, notice there, I'm not going all the way through down to the meat, right? And what that'll do is help the fat render, help the skin get crispy, and allow some of the marinade inside. Okay? The last thing to do is to tie it. And the reason we want to tie it is not necessarily so it just looks nice, is we want it to have, to cook evenly all the way around. And if it's the same size or diameter as much as possible, all the way around, that helps. So I've just got some cotton string. Every time I do this, I always think of my aunt and my uncle on Sundays. The smells in the kitchen wafting through the house. Okay, once that's tied, it doesn't have to look pretty. Get rid of the excess. Put this in a bowl. My bowl's not big enough. And take the marinades and just smear the whole thing. Oh my God, if you could smell this. I wish you could smell this. Okay. I'll probably put this in a bigger bowl. Okay, once that's in a bigger bowl, wrap it up, stick it in the fridge, and preferably leave it overnight. Then you're ready to roast it. Voila, le porc, otherwise known as the pork. This is the shoulder that I have put in a larger bowl. And you'll see, I also included that bone, right? I put some marinade on there, and that other little piece of meat, that little hangers on. So the way I like to do this is, and I'm gonna use this amazing skillet. You can use a roasting pan if you want, but I don't particularly care for ones that are like really deep with high sides because you don't end up getting a lot of airflow. I like it a little bit more shallow. So what we're gonna do is put some olive oil on the bottom, just a bit, don't need a lot. And our mirepoix. And what this is gonna do is act as a bed for the pork and give off juices while it roasts. So I'm gonna put the pork there and I'm gonna put the bone sort of underneath and I'm gonna stick this guy on this side and it just fits. So we're really good. That's actually really good. You don't want something that's gonna be so wide that things are gonna burn, and you don't want something that's gonna be so tight that it's just gonna steam. This is kind of gonna give a good mixture of both. This is going to be if you wanna call it the reverse sear method. So we're gonna put it in a low oven. I got it at 300 and I'll leave it in there for 2-3 days. And then at the end of that, we're gonna crank it up and leave it in there for a nanosecond so that it ends up getting nice and crispy on the outside. So let's stick this puppy in the oven. Okay, here we go. That looks good already, doesn't it? Okay, at this point, I'm gonna go fly a kite, take a nap on the beach, check my oil on the car. That doesn't take as long, actually. Or maybe I'll go see a movie at the theater. Ha! Haven't done that in a while. Anyway, see ya. Oh boy. Does that look good or does that look good? So now what we need to do is take it out and put it on a carving board and let it rest. Every time I see this kind of stuff, I think of my dad because he used to like to gnaw on the bones. And my mom too, actually. See all this? This is all the juice now, right? That has come out of the pork and the vegetables. What we want to do though is separate the fat. And I have a fat strainer here, which are really cool. If you haven't gotten one, you gotta get one of these things. You can see here, the fat is starting to separate from the jus. Now I'm gonna toss these veggies. I'm gonna turn this on high. And now you don't have to deglaze with white wine, but I kind of like a little bit of white wine. I'm gonna add, I don't know, maybe about a half cup, not very much. You can wait for that to come to a boil, or not. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add just the jus. See, now under here, there's a little device, and there's a little lever here, and when you push it, it opens the device on the bottom, the jus comes out, leaving the fat. There you go. Isn't that cool? So you got all those flavors in there. Now, in addition to that, because that's actually not enough, because we're gonna be French dipping the whole thing, right? So we need quite a bit of jus. I'm gonna add some of that beef stock. You know what? I'm just gonna put the whole thing in there. What the heck? Or maybe not, let me think. I've got maybe 4 cups in there or so. So I'm gonna leave it at that. So now the whole point of this is we're gonna bring this to a boil and reduce it just a little bit. We're not making a sauce now, okay? This is not gonna be a reduction sauce or anything like that, right? And you got little bits of meat in there, which is fine. It doesn't have to be totally pristine. But now we want those flavors from the beef stock, the jus, and the wine to all sort of merge together and reduce a little bit to concentrate the flavor. And once it's at the point where we're like, wow, that's good, we're done. So let's do that. And in the meantime, I'm gonna remove the string from the pork so we can slice it. Here we have it. All the components for French dip. Doesn't that pork look really good? Oh my God. We have the pork. We have the jus, which you can see I reduced a bit. I have ciabatta. So what we're gonna do is slice the pork first. I'm just gonna cut off the end a little bit, and I'm not going to cut them into super fine, thin slices, but I am gonna try and cut them as thin as possible. 2 reasons being, 1, it's easier to bite into when you have thinner pieces of meat, and it's easier to chew. Look at the juice. Oh. This is what you get when you cook it nice and slow. If you cook it too fast, then all of that nice juice kind of just goes bye-bye. Now this roast will serve at least 2 people. It's about an 8-pounder. Now again, you know, you can use this for an entree, right? Make a pork roast with some other stuff and everything else. Anyway, okay, so here we go. Let me get the ciabatta. And I'm going to, there we go, there's one. And actually, you know what, maybe I'll do this. There we go, now we're talking. Look at that. Oh yeah. And then I'll take a piece of meat. I'll put another piece there. And we'll put this guy back on top. And that is our French dip. I'm gonna cut a little more because I wanna make a variation. This goes a little beyond your traditional French dip. And then on the bottom, I'm gonna put a little aioli. Just a normal aioli. There's nothing else going on in here. Beef on top, some balsamic onion. So these are just sauteed onions till nice and brown. And you add like a little bit of balsamic glaze. You can get that in a little bottle at the store. Or just balsamic vinegar. And there's another variation. There you have it. There's one with the ciabatta and one with the ciabatta and the aioli. So, which one do I get to taste? Damn, that's good. Okay, please, you have to subscribe and like, because I like you, and share, please, because I think you're really gonna like this. Whether you do it with beef or lamb or the original pork, whether you put it on a baguette, French roll, ciabatta, make sure it's got a little bit of body, but put it on something really good. It's just fun for the whole family.